I mean, if you're dumped by a boyfriend, it's like, okay, we didn't want to get married and spend the rest of our lives together, raising children. But like with a friend, you dumped me as a friend. Health. How is your mental health? How are you doing? And let me tell you what, people are doing bad. Greetings and happy Christmas from your girl, Kelsey Humphreys, rom-com author, comedian, YouTuber, vlogger, podcaster, oversharer, bestie on the internet. If this is your first time watching me, I am a lot. But I do think this is a great episode, if this is your first time, to tune in because we are going to talk about something that is featured as a subplot in Happy Christmas, my rom-com that is out now. Even though it's October, I am celebrating Happy Christmas. And I'm talking about one of the subplots in that book, which is friendship breakups. Adult female friendships are hard, and sometimes we go through friendship breakups, which is really embarrassing to talk about. None of us talk about it because it feels even worse than romantic breakups. I mean, if you're dumped by a boyfriend, it's like, okay, we didn't want to get married and spend the rest of our lives together, raising children. But like with a friend, you dumped me as a friend. It's super embarrassing. And I've been dumped multiple times and I have lots of things to say about it. And so we're going to dive in. The Happy Tears podcast is uplifting, inspiring. It is a happy comedy show. So let's dive into this episode about crippling loneliness. Oh gosh. So I had to restart this because it is a difficult issue to talk about. No one wants to talk about it. We all go through it. And I want to start right off the bat. I want you to comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, comment right now. If you see this clip on YouTube, comment right now below. How many best friends, ladies, how many best friends do you have? Because I'm going to guess most of us would say 1, 2, or 3. I mean, 3 best friends is pretty awesome. And I feel like anything past that, you are a unicorn. And we all see other, at least I do, especially once you get to be in your 40s. I am just turned 41. And I feel like once everybody gets a little bit of money, suddenly there are friendship groups that go on trips together and friendship groups that do happy hours and girls trips. And we're going to wine country and we're going skiing. And a lot of times they take their husbands with them. And I'm just like, holy Toledo, Batman. How are all of these women still friends so many years later? Because a lot of them is college friends. I know we all see those friend groups, but I'm going to bet after we go through the comment section on this video that most people have 1 or 2 best friends, really close, die hard, really close ride or die friends. So that's tip number 1, point number 1 in this video is that if you feel like you have not very many friends, that's normal. And most adults don't have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 best friends. Now, that was normal maybe in college, high school and college. We have a sub community within a community. So maybe you're in a sorority. I was in a sorority in college. And in high school, I was in band and I did all the musicals. And so all the musical people, the artsy farts, singers and musicians, that was my sub community. Also had a youth group, pretty big size youth group. So then we had friends from youth group. In college, if you were in a sorority, you had your sorority friends and you really kind of felt like you had 200 friends. Or if you were in band or orchestra or any kind of community, sports, obviously you'd have your teammates. So, but once you get post grad, so everybody graduates college and you're still going, you're still vibing because you're all getting jobs and not everyone has moved away yet. Not everyone is married. No one's having kids. You have a lot of more bandwidth for planning and getting together. You can spend a lot more time prioritizing seeing your friends because you don't have as much other stuff going on yet. But once you get post grad, hear me when I say that it is a lot harder for everybody to get together. People get married, people have babies, lots of people move away. It's normal to look up one day, you wake up one day and look around and you're like, I have 2 friends. When did this happen? Point number 2, again, why does anyone watch this show or subscribe to anything I have to say? But my second point is, if you don't have a lot of friends or you have a lot of friendship issues, the problem is you. And that goes for me as well, okay? I'm going to think through a few of my friendship breakups and talk about why they happened. So one friendship breakup, I was not a great friend. And I didn't really know that person very well when it came down to it. I was drinking then. There was a lot of partying, and there was a lot of just like Kelsey being like the funny star of the show, drunk Kelsey being like the funny star of the show. And that is not really a true friendship. And did we talk about her life? Did we share? Did we have community? I don't think we really did, because once I got sober and once I realized sort of the dynamic, it was very different. As I said in past episodes, I think in my 41 things you should know at 21 or whatever, like my birthday life lessons video, party friends usually aren't friends when the party's over. So like if you're a drinking friend, once you stop drinking, you probably won't be friends anymore. And that is true, but I don't think that was on her or that group of friends. I mean, it was on me, right? I was the one who was like out of control and just like watch the Kelsey show as she goes down, goes down in flames, a few glasses of wine at a time. That was one awkward and sad kind of friendship breakup, but and I would still call her a friend, but I thought like we were besties. And the reality was I was not in a position to be a great friend to anyone in that state, was I? No, I was not. That's one of those things that's a hard realization when you make the choice to be better. And so you decide to quit partying, you decide to quit drinking. Maybe you decide to stop husband bashing. And that's really all that Bunko group is. Your Bunko club is just husband bashing, and you make a commitment to not do that anymore. And you go and you realize like, I'm not actually really close friends with these women. I have nothing to contribute. That's literally all we talk about. Same could be for like, you have a friend and your only real connection is your mutual dislike of some third person. And you realize like, hey, I need to quit gossiping, or I need to quit, I need to be a girl's girl and quit pooping all over this other woman. And then you have nothing to talk about. So sometimes you deciding to grow, you deciding to become better, if you are deciding to make better habits, healthier habits, positively change your life, that's going to mean you're going to lose some friendships. That is one example. And a hard thing about positive change. There are going to be any change is change, right? We've talked about this at length in multiple podcast episodes, so I don't need to go in that again. But that's something to think about is like, hey, that friendship went away, but it was because I was making good choices. I was doing the right thing. I chose to get healthy, to quit a bad habit. And so I just have to let that friendship go. And that is sad, but right. Hard doesn't mean wrong. Another one that I had was, I just had very unrealistic expectations. Again, let me remind you, this podcast is brought to you by my books. Please buy them. But also, in the future, I do want to have live events, you guys. I do want to have an actual tour. And the only way that that's going to happen is if we spread the word, tell someone to check out my YouTube channel, tell someone to listen to my podcast. That would be so, so helpful. Very unrealistic expectations of this person. And I thought that we were best friends. And maybe, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, have you ever just hardcore loved someone and thought like, man, that is like one of my closest friends in the world. And then it turns out you were not one of their closest friends. And that happened to me. And I think, I just maybe wasn't paying attention, wasn't self-aware, wasn't realizing the different like seasons of life that we were in and how just different that we really were. And that when it came down to it, of course, she was actually a lot closer to people, a lot more like her. Okay. So that was hard. And that wasn't anything that I did wrong other than maybe not paying attention, not being self-aware. I'm a pretty self-aware person. I've got, as I like to say, a whole Louis Vuitton set of luggage that I can take out, unzip, lay out, and alphabetize for you. But in that case, I just missed it. I just didn't see that. And I think maybe I put her in an awkward position a couple times where I was like leaning hard on the best friend thing. And I think probably made her uncomfortable, bless her heart. It took a few different situations where I wasn't invited to things and I wasn't included in things. And then I realized, okay, this friendship is not what I thought it was. Again, though, that's really on me for not paying attention and not like take a clue, Kelsey, get a clue. I mean, I'm a fun person and I am a good friend, but we were in totally different just ballparks in life. And I was not seeing it. I didn't see it. That hurt. And it took some really hard situations for me to realize it. And then what happens, right? And then what? Then I have to choose. I'm going to take what this friend can give me, and I'm going to be grateful and love her. And that we're not best friends, and it's not what I thought. But I'm going to accept what I am given and enjoy the friendship that I do have, cherish what I do have, but adjust my expectations. You got to adjust your expectations. And that's a huge part of friendship and friendship breakups, is that expectations weren't met. Well, did you communicate them? Did you communicate them? Because as women, a lot of times especially if that person we used to be so in sync that she knew what was going on, she knew what I expected, she knew what I wanted. Well, how many kids ago was that, girl? How many major life changes ago was that? She's not in tune with you anymore because you're both busy. If you're not communicating your friendship expectations, those expectations are not going to be met. So after this, like what it felt like a friendship breakup to me. I don't think she would have said that. But I had to adjust my expectations. Whenever she could see me or wanted to get together or wanted to do things, I would say yes and I would enjoy it. But I would no longer kind of expect a best friend role from that person. This has changed, or this person changed, or I changed. The friendship's not going to stay the same if you are no longer the same. The next one is sad and sucky because it never resolved. And it's just I was ghosted, and it was a best friendship that then I was ghosted and has not been resolved. And that I'm not the only one. I know that this happens because we as women get hurt and pull away. And I did. I actually pulled away first, I think. If I look back at the situation, I got hurt and didn't communicate. Communication is the key to all relationships. But looking back, I got hurt. I didn't communicate that I was hurt. And then this is something that I heard in, I'm going to have to put in her name here, but this genius, and she wrote a book about friendships, and then she was on Mel Robbins' podcast, and I watched that and I thought it was really good. And she talks about how when you don't say out loud that you were hurt and then you start stockpiling your hurts, it's so true. It's so true. So then I'm secretly, silently hurt. And then every other micro offense, I'm just getting more hurt and more hurt and more hurt. On the other side, that person was doing the same thing. Also hurt, also upset, thought I had changed. And I am assuming everything after that was just more and more hurt until eventually where there's just no communication at all. We're not talking. We're not reconciling. Again, if I look at it, it's on me because I should have just said right off the bat, I'm hurt about X, Y, and Z. And now, and you might comment well, why don't you go back and fix it? Well, it's not that simple anymore. Now we're talking about years of stockpiled offense on both sides and the reality of how much life has changed and how much we have changed. The reality is there's no way the friendship can go back to what it was. It just cannot. And so do I hope that we reconcile? Yes. In fact, I have vivid dreams of them, of making up with them, of running into them. I have all these vivid dreams, which tells me, my spirit, my subconscious, I'm still searching for this friend. Where did this friend go? There's this missing piece here. It's an unclosed loop. It's unresolved. And we as humans want resolution, which is why I think ghosting is so cruel. And I'll say it right now. If you have ghosted someone, you are a turd. And that's not me talking to my friendship situation because we just slowly backed away from each other. But if in some situation you just ghosted a friend and they write to you and they're like, hey, what happened? Can you let me know? And you just never reply. That is so cruel because we want resolution as human beings. We like the closed loop. If I right now go, jingle bells, jingle, oh my word. Aren't you twitching? We want the end all the way. We feel better. Everybody feels better. Just the last few notes of the stanza, I need it in there. My brain needs it. So please don't ghost people. Don't ghost. Don't ghost. I think it's much more normal for younger people that's just something that happens, but I think it is so brutally mean. So with that, friend, I do think that at some point, hopefully, there will be some sort of sit down, can we resolve this? Or could we build a new friendship? Can we move into something new? Because we can never go back to what we had. So those are the friendship situations that I had. And again, I hope you hear me say that all of those things were on me. And I want to say that if you have a lot of little kids, you're probably not a great friend. And I have had to talk to my current best friends of like, hey, I know the last couple years I was not a great friend because I was drowning. I was so focused on my own situation, my own self, my own struggles and needs. I was not a great friend. And that we all go through periods of that. Give yourself grace if you realize like, you know what? I have been a really bad friend lately. And I dare you to right now send a message to her or to your friend group and just be like, hey, I've been a really bad friend for the last year and I'm so sorry. And I hope that we can get back to it. Can we go for coffee? Can we have lunch? I think a lot of the problem with female friendships is feeling hurt and not talking about it, and then feeling shame and not talking about it. I'm ashamed I missed your birthday. I'm ashamed I haven't called you in a month. I'm ashamed that I've been a bad friend for like a year. So I think if we can just say that, just bring light to it, that's how you get rid of shame. Bringing light is what removes shame. And so telling your friend, like, I am sorry, I feel bad, I missed your birthday, I haven't called you in 3 months, please forgive me and let's start over, let's rework this. Like I already said, communication is key, but I think communicating specifically to get rid of the shame that you're feeling and start over is huge. And if we could all just do this, our friendships would be so much better and we would find it, I think, pretty easy to restore and start over if we can just bring light to it. So let's say, I'm sure some of you listening are like, you don't understand, Kelsey. This was not on me. This was not on me. She was wrong. Okay, don't be her friend, man. I'm not saying not every friendship is worth maintaining. Not every friendship is worth keeping at the same level that it was. Lives change, people change, seasons change, and it's fine for friendships to also change. So I get it. But could we maybe extend some grace to her? Because let me tell you, and this is where I know I'm going to tear up, is in hanging out with my friends who I haven't seen in a long time and talking to them and just realizing how hard everyone secretly has it. Realizing how difficult life is when we really ask, when we really say like, hey, how are you really doing? Especially when it's a friend that you don't see often, or you have like a text friend or a meme friend and like you're close, but you only text now. You don't see each other very often. Maybe they live far away and you actually get on the phone and you're like, hey, how are you doing really? How are you feeling truly? How is your emotional health? How is your mental health? How are you doing? And let me tell you what, people are doing bad. People are doing poorly out in these streets, y'all. But not because life is so hard, because parenting is hard, because watching your parents age is hard, because going through divorce is hard, because going through cancer is hard. I mean, let me count the ways life is hard. And so when it comes to adult female friendships, could we maybe extend more grace than we know? Can we assume that a heck of a lot more is going on than we knew about, than we realized, and maybe reach out and be like, hey, how have you been? Like, what's going on with you? I haven't heard from you in a few months. Or, hey, I got to tell you, I was really upset that we didn't talk about X, Y, and Z, or that I didn't hear from you after my parent died, or whatever, fill in the blank. But I am wondering, like, what all have you been going through? What's been going on in your life? And I think, have an ability to make people feel comfortable. People tell me their entire life story. Strangers tell me their entire life stories. You know what I should do? I should start driving. I should become an Uber driver, because whatever it is about me, my aura, my general way, my personality, I could write volumes of stuff that people would probably just tell me, like just tell me all of their whole life story. And so that is something I don't know if everybody has that, if that's something in a friendship that everyone can cultivate. But I do think that just being willing to A, share your own stuff, and then B, ask for the real stuff, you will realize how hard things are for everyone else. You're not the only one going through hard things. And I need to hear that myself, because I have been throwing a lot of Kelsey pity parties over the last couple years. And it is just like jarring and helpful and humbling to talk to my friends and my family members and other people when you really ask how are things going and realize that like life is hard for everyone. Everyone is going through hard things. Could it be that she was drowning, that she was, suffocating, all the other overwhelmed, verbs, with children, with life, with debt, secret things, with addiction, with a secret health issue that she didn't want to tell anyone, with miscarriages. Gosh, again, let me list the ways. Just something to consider when we think about adult friendships. My last tip, I don't know that this is a tip video, but my last thing that I would say, and I have said this in past videos, but it bears repeating within this conversation, especially if this is your first time watching, all of the great friendships that I have right now are because I took the initiative, reached out, made the effort, and somebody in the friend group has got to say, hey, we're going on a trip finally. I will book the hotels. I will book the flights. I will get with a travel agent. I will make it happen. Somebody has to do the effort. And if you're all, if you all have little kids and everybody's tapped out and everybody's overwhelmed, it might have to be you, honey. It might have to be you, girl. It might have to be me sometimes. This, most recently, Stephanie, you all know I've talked about Stephanie before. We are best friends who have never lived in the same town, met on the internet, shout out Facebook groups. We actually have a lot that's not in common, but we have a lot that's in common. And I finally just told her, like, I want to go on a girls trip and you're going to have to plan the whole thing, please. And she was like, okay, because I can't, there's too many kids. There's too many children. I can't. And, we're also trying to plan our family trips and I'm trying to coordinate kids' schedules and getting us through the end of Christmas time and like all of our calendar stuff. I was just like, can you please do this? Because I really want it to happen. So please do it. And so you might have to do that. You might have to communicate again. Hey guys, somebody step up and make this happen for us. Let's get together. I am so grateful for two friends that I have, because we started a life group at church and the life group totally fell apart, but I'm still friends with them. And yesterday we were supposed to have lunch and I let them know, hey, I forgot daycare's closed. We're going to have to reschedule because I'm going to have the baby with me. They just brought tacos here to the house and he slept in my room right next to us having our girls' time. And it was so great. And I just had to communicate. And then my friends who also have a lot of kids and who get it, were just like, no, we're just bringing food to you. Forget it. We'll just get takeout. Communicating, adjusting your expectations, assuming that people have a lot of heavy stuff going on, and then take the initiative. If you want great friends, be a good friend. If you want to get together, go plan something. I am so excited about the co-working space that I joined. If you've been watching the vlogs weekly, you know about that, because I have never had a community, a group of other small business owners that I can talk to locally. I have had people online, but that's not the same as like getting together, hashing it out, supporting each other, like being able to go to each other's things, buy each other's stuff locally. I'm so excited about that. Again, I physically went, I paid my dues. I went to my weekly, semi-weekly mastermind thing. I put on real pants. Okay. Like, you are going to have to make the initiative. And there are times in your life where you can't, and you just cannot do that. And understand that that might mean you have less close friendships then. You have less diehards at that point. Now, you could argue that if they're really a diehard, that they'll make the effort and they'll stick with you through it, but not if you never communicate. If you never say like, hey, I just need you to know that I'm going to have to get through the next few months and then I'll be back. Like, I can't respond to text messages. I'm so overwhelmed. I'm behind. All my text messages are full. My email inbox is full. Like, I can't even pick up my phone. So give me a few months. I've had a friend say that. And I'm like, God, I got you. I will not text you, and I will reach out in 2 months and I will ask like, hey, how's it going? Are we ready for text messages yet? You want to FaceTime, or how are we doing? So you're not the only one who doesn't have very many friends. Realize you're not the only one where it's hard to get together. It's hard to get real, get past the surface stuff or the happy hour crap and like get to the heart of it. Adjust your expectations, admit if you were wrong, and like go make the initiative, take the time to put forth the effort, especially with the friends that you don't want to lose, because they might be, everybody takes turns being like a super hot mess. And sometimes your hot mess and their hot mess might line up and you go like a year, without talking or whatever. Sometimes you're going to have to be the one. One more thing that's happened, that's not like being dumped as a friend, but it's also very embarrassing, is that there have been multiple times where I've tried to initiate a friendship and like, hey, you want to get together? She writes back, yeah, I would love to do coffee sometime. I'm like, great. How about Thursday? And then I'll try again. Like we said, hey, I know Thursday didn't work out, but do you want to get together for coffee? Sure, I'd love to. Okay, all right. I could do Monday or I could do Friday this week. And really anytime in the morning we could get coffee or brunch. If this is you as well, and you have done this multiple times, let me tell you something. If they wanted to, they would. If they wanted to, they would. They don't want to be your friend. Sorry. Those ladies, a couple of them, I can list them out for you. It's happened multiple times. They do not want to be my friend. I don't know why. I am delightful. They don't want to be your friend, okay? It's hard to hear. It sucks, especially if you like met them, you were vibing, or you've been like, you really like saw them in a group setting and you thought, oh man, we should take this to the next level. We should get out of the group and go just the two of us. She doesn't want to. If she wanted to, she would. I hope that this encouraged you and motivated you and helped you feel less alone, made you laugh, lifted you up. If it did, I hope you will subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope you will follow the audio podcast, leave a review on iTunes, leave a comment on YouTube, hit the notifications bell, all the things. And if you're watching on YouTube specifically, I am posting 3 videos a week. I have this happy podcast. Then I have my writing vlog, which is like my current, it's like, just cozy vlog footage of my family and my writing and what I'm currently working on. And then I also have writing tips. So if you're interested in becoming a full-time fiction author, you're interested in writing a book, you should definitely check that out. With all that, I hope you'll consider coming back to the YouTube channel again. And then remember, if you see a group of 3 gals and they are having coffee together and all of them are just weeping into their lattes, those are probably happy teas.